Lovely
Good
to see you.
you.
Once again.
Once again.
Mark, in your own words, what is the Leaders Reciprocal Mentoring Programme?
I think the Leaders Reciprocal Mentoring Programme builds on the first programme that we undertook, which was more of an internal focus programme that allowed members of the executive team at the university to work directly with black students and get an understanding of some of the challenges that they had in terms of their journey into the university and their time at the university, which gave us a different perspective and allowed us to think about and take action upon some of the issues that were being raised. So I guess part of that progression was then to move to an externally facing model for the reciprocal mentoring programme and looking at a group of really, really influential and I have to say very inspirational black leaders across the city that gave us an opportunity again to gain that wider perspective and try and understand in more detail the challenges and thoughts and the views of those black leaders and how we as an organisation could respond to those. For me, I think that was a particularly important development. Alongside the Leaders Programme, of course, we had a positive action programme and recruiting more black staff into the university, and we've extended that further again now with a trainee tutor programme to make sure, although we have staff from over 100 countries, we don't have very, very many local black members of staff, certainly academic staff. So again, that was about providing those opportunities and bringing in staff that we can support, develop, train, who can become part of the university academic workforce. This could be a very short answer. Kim, what was the highlight of the process for you?
Well, do you know what, Mark? I would say the highlight was getting to know you a bit better, getting to know and understand John Moores University. It's not just about the students, about all the other work that goes on and the work in the community, but the fact that the reciprocal mentoring scheme provided an opportunity for the university to make some significant changes to address some of the issues that have been identified. And that was, great for me because it was about, not just listening, but taking action to redress some of the problems, which was great.
We could meet in various situations because of our roles, but actually having the opportunity almost to step out from those roles and have those different types of conversations in a different sort of format was, again, I think for me, very, very important. So, Kim, tell me about your background and how you think it shaped the person you are now.
Oh, big question. I'm the eldest of 5. I grew up in Liverpool 8. But then I got involved in doing voluntary youth work. And I thought, well, I like this. I'll go and get qualified to be a youth and community worker. And so I spent, before I was elected, 20 years as a community development worker. Giving people a voice is very important to me. So Mark, tell me about your background and what you think helped shape you in terms of the position you find yourself in now.
I was born in Devonshire Road in Liverpool 8. My mum was a teacher and father was a marine engineer. I think for me, having both parents with an absolute passion for education was really important for me. I was first in the family to pass the 11 plus, as was then, and went to Prescott Grammar School. So I left there at 16 and went off to St Helens College to do a foundation in fine art and then off to Lancaster College of Art. Having completed that degree, came back to Liverpool and intended really to come back for a couple of weeks, couple of months, and then move on somewhere else. During a particular week, I was offered 2 jobs in Liverpool. One was at the then Liverpool Polytechnic, another one at a design agency, and I took the job at Liverpool Polytechnic. I never really had any sort of key ambitions there to end up in the role that I have now, but what I do have is a real sort of passion for the people that work at the university. It's the impact that we can have in transforming people's lives and giving them the basis to go on to
And I think
greater
you
things.
mentioned before about, you know, education being the key to that,
Yeah.
you know, and I think John Moores is great at bringing in local people and supporting local people in Liverpool. So Mark, can you tell me, what is the proudest moment of your career?
God, it's a really difficult question, because I mean there have been quite a number of
Over 41 years.
42.
Or 42. Sorry.
Very proud moments. I guess, I mean, more recently, standing in the cathedral as the Vice-Chancellor for that first set of graduations after COVID, and actually welcoming people back into the city, back into the cathedral with their friends and families, and celebrating their success. Okay, Kit, so how has the city of Liverpool in particular shaped your career?
Well, I always say, Mark, that I'm a very proud Scouser, and whenever I have the opportunity to say that I'm from Liverpool and Liverpool is the best city in the world, I mean that. But that's not to say that things are great in the city, you know, because I am the first black MP ever elected in the city. For me, it is a bit of a sad indictment, given that we do have the longest established black community dating back hundreds of years. You know, we have some very long established diverse communities, but that's what makes Liverpool unique. You know, we are a unique city with a very unique history, and I'm very proud of that. And after Eurovision this summer, I think, you know, it's just again just amplified how great our city is, you know, but we've got a lot to do though still, you know. So Mark, tell me, what have you learned?
What have I learned? I've learned to listen in a different sort of way, and actually appreciate and understand some of the challenges that, yes, you know, you can assume things about individuals, you can assume things about people's life, but actually hearing people's explanation of you know, their journey, how they've developed as individuals into the careers that they have, and actually hearing it firsthand is much more powerful.
Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm.
How do you feel that society responds towards conversations around race and ethnicity?
I suppose sometimes it depends on who you're having those conversations with, you know, and because I'm a black working class woman from Liverpool, the first black MP for Liverpool, when I have conversations with some people, I can see their eyes rolling and to say, here we are again. So some people find it difficult.
When you're having those conversations though, and you get that sort of eye-rolling moment, how do you respond to that? Is that an opportunity for you to sort of double down, or is it really trying to emphasise and persuade people?
Well, I think it is an opportunity to emphasise and try and persuade people. You know, you look at, you know, society, and you look at, you know, how black people from diverse communities are affected by the economy. For example, you know, more black people died as a result of COVID, for example. So there are major disparities, and it's about raising the awareness that inequality is alive and kicking and needs to be addressed.
I mean, we've spoken before about that sort of positive role modelling. How do you feel about that personally? Do you feel that as almost a burden, because you are, as you've said, the first female black MP in the city of Liverpool?
I don't see it as a burden. I see it as an opportunity for people to think, well, yeah, she's, you know, black, a woman, and working class, and so if she can be an MP, and, you know, then I can do whatever I want to do, because that was always, you know, the mantra that I grew up with. My dad used to say to me, you can do anything you want to do, put your mind to it, you know, but as a black person you'll have to work, you know, twice as hard. And that's been integral to the way I've lived my life from, you know, a teenager. You know, I'm a firm believer in lifelong learning. You know, I went to university when my kids were 18 months old, so I was a part-time student, went 2 days a week for 5 years, because I felt, to a certain extent, I was failed by the education system, because I was never encouraged to go to higher education, and a lot of people in my peer group would be in a very similar situation, you know. So lots of bright people from my community weren't encouraged, and I know a lot of black women in my peer group did something very similar. You know, they left school, they had a job, and went back part-time and got degrees, and then kind of meandered into their careers. And so I think, you know, providing people with an opportunity that says, yeah, you can do this is important to me. So Mark, tell me, how have your views changed throughout the process?
I guess it goes back to the point I made earlier. I feel I always had a general understanding, but as I said, that's not the same as hearing it directly from individuals. I heard it from the reciprocal mentoring with the student, with Chantal Lunt, and then obviously through Joanne and yourself. Actually hearing directly about those challenges, I think becomes much more impactful, much more powerful, and I think gives a depth to the understanding.
So Mark, if you could sum up the reciprocal mentoring scheme in 3 words, what would they be?
The first word I would use is inspirational. I mean, you know, going back to the internal program, right the way through to the leaders reciprocal mentoring program, I do think it's been inspirational. So that would certainly be a key word. I would say it's been honest. And for me, that was really important, that we had honest conversations, because otherwise, you know, why would we do it? And I think, you know, we're both the sort of individuals more than happy to have those frank and honest conversations. So I think inspirational, honest, and again, I think perhaps on another level, and it goes back to the point I made earlier, insightful in the sense of actually hearing directly from you and from Joanne and from Chantal as a student, the challenges that people have faced throughout their careers and well, throughout their lives and then subsequent careers, but how they've managed to achieve so much against that adversity. This is a very long question. So Kim, how are you going to put the learning into action, and how will that benefit the Liverpool community?
Well, I've said, you know, throughout this our conversation that I think the work that John Moores have done in terms of developing this reciprocal mentoring program has been, positive, insightful, and I think, you know, having those conversations with somebody has been really positive, you know, being honest and truthful about what needs to happen. And I think, you know, for me, as a politician going forward and having similar conversations with leaders of organisations so that they can think about what they can do to make, you know, systemic changes within their organisations. And I think that's really important, you know, because I think that the scheme that you've developed is a model that can be used and rolled out to others to make changes, because I mentioned earlier on that we need to make changes in terms of representation right across a number of sectors, and the fact that you've done it and done it well, I think provides a real opportunity for others following your footsteps.
I think what we've already demonstrated that we are taking action. So, you know, I referenced earlier the positive action programme in terms of bringing colleagues in, and the trainee tutor programme. I think what's important though, I mean, it's not just my learning, it's the entire executive team. So everybody being engaged in it, I think was really, really important. What's also really interesting now is I'm having conversations around the institution with lots of staff who are saying, when do we get the opportunity to engage in the programme? So we need to think about how we drive the opportunities further down in the organisation. But I do think having made those sort of first steps around opening the doors of the university, we just need to keep those doors open. And what's really important for me is this becomes a sustainable activity. This isn't just a project that has a beginning and an end. It is a real sort of cultural change for the organisation, and we keep the momentum going.